What is good, Meat Boys? Yo, kicking off UFC 271. We got an absolute banger of a 155 scrap. We got Renato Moicano, 15-4 and 1, taking on Alexander the Great, 13 and 4. And both these guys at one point had a lot of hype. They're both coming off recent wins. And if we look at Moicano's history, right, it's kind of a mixed bag, but we can't forget that this is a guy who absolutely smoked Calvin Kattar. He absolutely smoked Cub Swanson, and then he had those two hiccups, but again, they were against Jose Aldo and the Korean Zombie, and it forced that move to lightweight where he's been 2-1 since then, and the lone defeat coming against Rafael Fiziev. But I was impressed with how he responded to that loss against Jai Herbert, where he was able to just take that fight to the mat, get that nice rear naked choke, and simply finish Jai Herbert with ease. And I think that that might be something worth pursuing in this one when he takes on Alexander the Great Hernandez, who is a guy who obviously has gnarly knockout power. I mean, we saw that most recently against Mike Breeden when he absolutely smoked him in 1 minute, and that was good too because he had just came off the heels of that three-round affair against Thiago Moises, and he lost that fight. It was pretty close back and forth, but again, it was good to see him get that KO win over Breeden. So this one's pretty interesting, and we can't fail to mention that Hernandez is a guy who slept Beneil Dariush in about 10 seconds. It was his debut. We were there. It killed a bunch of parlay tickets for the boys, but it was an impressive debut, and he has KO finishes over Chris Gritzmacher since then. So what are your thoughts on how this fight goes? Do you think that one of these guys has the advantage on the feet? And if so, who and who you roll with me?
Yeah, this is gonna be a really awesome fight, boys. And I really like the underdog in this. I usually go for underdogs anyway, but this one I really like. Alexander Hernandez, I think, is being slept on. Moicano, I think his prime is done. I mean, he has been fighting literally the top five fighters. I mean, pretty consistently for a long time now. But I don't know, last few fights didn't look too as good, and I think Alexander Hernandez is up on the rise now. He's finally got that win, and hopefully he's gonna keep a streak instead of alternating win loss. And he's young, he's very strong, very explosive, has crazy power, and I think he's just really dialed in. And I think his wrestling is pretty good. I think it's good enough to stop Renato from any submission game. So I don't really see a submission happening. But man, it wouldn't surprise me if Renato takes it also. Renato is OG, he's a veteran. He's fought Jose Wall, Fiziev, like all these top insane contenders. But I just like Alexander in this. I like the odds, so I'm picking the great.
Yeah, I feel that. And you mentioned the great and the dog status, right? He's about a plus 145, plus 150 dog, compared to Moicano, who's about a minus 165 favorite. And you mentioned the wrestling prowess of Hernandez and obviously the jiu-jitsu prowess that Moicano possesses. Do you think either of these guys is going to try and get this thing to the mat, or do they both sort of, or will they both sort of recognize each other's strengths, dare to keep this fight standing, and then if that is the case, who has the stand-up advantage in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna lean with Alexander on this. I think he's got the more power. Maybe Ronaldo might have a little cleaner jabs, but I think he's gonna come with those bombs. And honestly, I could even see Hernandez going for the takedown, and try to smother and ground and pound. But I see this being a stand-up brawl nonetheless. Um, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does try to go for that if Renato is getting the better of him on the feet. But I think Alexander will not have an issue wherever it goes, and I think he'll get it done. Second round.
Yeah, I feel that, and I'm very torn on this one. And if we look over at Tapology, it looks like the community is pretty split as well, right? 55% is rolling with Meaty Moicano, 45% rolling with Alexander the Great, and a majority of that 45% for Hernandez is Brown. They think that that KO TKO is his most likely pathway, and of the 55% for Moicano, majority of it is Copper. They think that the submission is most likely. So I'm back and forth. Both these guys are alternating wins and losses, and they're both coming off wins. But ultimately, I think that Renato Moicano is going to have enough to get this one done. I don't have a strong read on how this fight is going to play out, right? Whether it's going to hit the mat, whether it's going to stay standing, and what it's going to look like in either realm. But ultimately, I just like Moicano to likely emerge with a gritty decision win. And I don't know. I don't know if Hernandez is going to be able to finish Moicano. and he's been losing some decisions lately. And I don't know. I just think if this one goes the distance, then it's going to favor Moicano. So, but it's not a pick that I'm like, breaking the bank over, right? Because I could see a pathway easily for both of these guys, and I think this is just a hell of a way to get things going. But ultimately, I got to go with Moicano. Any last thoughts?
Yeah, no, I like the matchup. I agree with all the things you said. It could go either way. I don't know, but Alexander's pretty mad that he's on the prelims. He's going from main card to up high to now the prelims, and he's been around for a while, so he's really offended. Wouldn't surprise me if he throws the fight, but also I think this is actually going to ignite some fire in him and say, I'm the main event. Boom! Knock him out first or second round. Get that main event slot back.
Yeah, it's a great point, right? He was definitely peeved with the placement on the card, and if he wants to jump up higher, then perhaps this is the opportunity to do so against Hanato Moicano. But nonetheless, Tapology is split. Me and Boy are split. Let us know in the comments who you're rolling with. Are you rolling with Alexander the Great Hernandez, or does Hanato Moicano find a way to get this one done? Let us know, meat boys.